So I want to first start by saying, has anybody here seen the movie Jerry Maguire?
Yes.
You see? All right. Wow. Okay, great. A lot of people in the room. You guys remember that one scene when he's calling him and he's like, ask for that new contract? What's that one phrase that he's saying? It's like one of the most well-known phrases in Jerry Maguire. Show me the money. All right. Okay. So we're going to have certain pro tips. We're going to have certain pro tips. When I say pro tip, you guys are going to say, show me the money. All right. So we're going to have certain pro tips throughout this. So let's try it out. Pro tip. Show me the money. All right. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to have certain one of these throughout the presentation just because these are certain pro tips. I want to make sure we're going to be going over like why are videos important. I think it's always great to start there. But then we're also going to be going into the certain structure of how to shoot videos. We're going to be going over certain tactics we can use as far as like video text messages, what are the right ones to send, so we can walk out of here and have certain implementable steps. But I also want to be able to give you guys like a guide and a roadmap of how to create your brand and continue to shoot videos weeks, months, and even years after this, right? If you follow this system and the process, it's crazy to think, like when you watch videos and determine what's a good video and a bad video, there's a system to each one. You guys, if you guys follow me on Facebook or any of my socials here, you're going to start noticing like all these things that I'm saying, like son of a bitch. Like each one of his videos follow the same exact format, right? But you're able to insert different parts of your brand, different videos in different formats into each one, right? So that's what I want to be, you guys to be able to walk away from here today with. Next slide, please. All right, so I'm going to get up. I'm going to walk around and talk. So, has anyone seen this Joker movie? What is this? Joaquin Phoenix, the new Joker movie? Right? So this meme came out, it was right when YouTube released, like how much money like each of their like YouTube stars were making, right? Oh, you've seen this? Okay. Yeah, so it was like right when they came out with like how much each of their YouTubers were making. And there was this certain kid, I don't have kids, I don't have any, I do have little cousins that I babysit that watch this kid all the freaking time, right? And it's the kid, literally his YouTube channel is him opening up toys and like giving a review. Does anybody's kids watch this or anyone see this? You know exactly what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. This dude's making $26 million a year. Think about that.
I'm sure his parents are going to
well, his parents are
Right.
Right. He doesn't get the toys. Well, if he does, he's going to get a lot more toys, right? But here's the thing. You know, when I started breaking this down, I started looking at this. The kid's 8 years old, making $26 million a year. What did he do? Well, what did his parents do more likely, right? His parents realized YouTube is like, man, it's this up-and-coming thing, right? They got started with YouTube early. They realized that this is going to be a big channel. There's going to be a lot of opportunities. Then what did they do? They decided, like, what is the brand going to be, right? They decided what the brand is, what are we going to be consistent with, and they followed a brand strategy all these years. And look at it now, they're making $26 million a year. So they decided video is important to our industry. So you can say, is real estate, is video important to our industry? Yes? All right, great. So now, all we need is what is our brand and how can we be consistent? Because what I don't want to happen to you is, yeah, the big thing is like when they were saying like people are waking up, going in a 9 to 5, and there's this kid making $26 million a year, right? And that's what you look like. Alright? So, 4 years from now, when there's these realtors that are out there that are not as good as you, but they're shooting more video, they have a better brand, they're more consistent online, and they're bringing in millions, I don't want you all looking in the mirror and saying like, I should have listened to Nick today, right? This is what y'all look like 4 or 5 years from now if we don't start shooting video. Because here's the thing, perception is reality. Just because you're selling more homes doesn't mean the public knows you're selling more homes. Just because you're a better agent doesn't mean the public knows you're a better agent, right? With video and everything we're doing, this is what we're going like we don't start shooting video. I want to give you guys the systems, the processes, the roadmap, so we don't look like that. Next slide, please. All right, I'll let you leave. So here's another good one for you. What is this one? Oh, I totally forgot you're an agent. Has anybody heard this before? Like one of your friends or family members said this, like, forgot you were an agent. You know? And then here's the face most people will make. But here's the funny thing. It's our own fault, right? If they forgot we were an agent, whose fault is that? I wanted to have music going for this one, but I couldn't figure out how to sync it up. What was that? It's like one song, like old school songs, The Secret Agent, man. You know that song? Yeah. So it's The Secret Agent, right? This is what happens when you're a secret agent. You're gonna bring it up? Right? When people say, oh, I forgot you're an agent. Well, if you're shooting more videos, would they forget you were an agent? If you're sending out to your landing pages, if you're shooting video text messages, would they forget that you're an agent? No. So So when this happens, when people forget that you're an agent, they go with somebody else, we're losing referral deals. Not even, we're talking about new leads and things coming in all the time. We're losing easy referral deals, family members, friends, because we're not shooting videos, right? So videos go a lot farther than just, I'm going to shoot a video, send people to a landing page and get more leads. That's great, but we're losing out on the easy ones because we're not shooting videos. Next slide, please. So traditional branding. Has anybody here heard of billboard before? Billboard?
I think Todd, have you
Todd,
done a billboard?
Billboard?
Yeah.
I think so.
Almost did.
Oh,
You
okay.
almost did it.
Yes.
All right, you almost did it, so I'll go through your almost mentality of a billboard with you.
We had a fake one that was on Facebook.
Did you? Was that like the NAE, like the put your
We
face
did
on?
that with the HR office. We're like,
Right.
which quarter is that on?
Right. So with the billboard, the mentality for this, Todd, let's just say you did go through a portrait on this billboard, right? Would you expect people to stop on the highway, go on the side of the highway, write down your information, and keep driving?
No.
No. What would you want the billboard to be?
Something consistent so that it's top of mind.
Something consistent to stay top of mind, right? So like the whole idea of the billboard is put in a high traffic area, right? So that when people drive by all the time, they think real estate. So we got.
But I saw that.
Oh, thanks.
We teach
Have
you
you know
know
her
that.
Oh, you know her right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the whole point of a billboard, you know, you spend thousands of dollars on a billboard, right? To have it up in a high frequent area, so when people are driving by, then you stay top of mind, right? This is something called, once you own the mind share, you own the market share, right? Because when people think real estate, if they do, that's what winning looks like. So people would spend thousands of dollars, radio, TV, billboards, they still do, just to stay top of mind. You know, because you know why? Because they know how important it is to stay top of mind with your clients. Now we're saying you can go with Facebook Live and get that same traction, right? Because Facebook, it is kind of like a highway, right? And this is why you need to be producing enough content, because just like a highway, if you have a billboard in a place where it's like a dead end, only like a couple people are going to see it, right? It's just like if you shoot one video a month and post it out there, it's kind of like a dead end place. You're going to see it once, then you're going to be gone. So that's why the importance of staying consistent by staying top of mind and staying in front of people is to be. Next one. It's great because I usually have to go over these ones, but we kind of went over these today, right? We went over these before we got started. We're kind of going over these different limiting beliefs. It's too late for me to get started. I think this was funny because how many times do you think, like when we're looking at social media, I hear this a lot, like, man, whoever started doing videos are already crushing it. And in reality, it's only about like 2 or 3 agents in each marketplace that are doing good, but you just think there's more because they're posting so much, right? There's really not too many people that are absolutely crushing video right now that are doing it at the level that we can be doing. Technology is too difficult. We'll crush this one. That was not too hard. Don't know what to do or don't know what to say. This was a couple people, right? Who said this one here? A lot of people? Yeah, we're going to give you the roadmap for that one. Try it before it hasn't worked. So this one was, so I don't know, how many people here know Jay Gidner? Great. So Jay, I started shooting these videos about 4 years ago. They were called my Win the Day videos, right? My Win the Day videos, I'll go by 8 a.m. every single day, and I would like say a quote, and then say like, what's the motivation behind it, right? I was doing this for like a solid like 4 or 5 months. I was getting a lot of traction. All of a sudden started dwindling down. And then he called me one day and said, hey, these are great videos. And he said, what's the goal with these? I'm like, I'm sorry? He's like, what's the goal? I'm like, to shoot videos and have fun? He's like, that's great, but you gotta have a goal, you gotta have a structure, you gotta have an end game, a brand. And really started to get me thinking differently about what I'm doing with videos. So try it before it hasn't worked. I've been there because then all of a sudden I started getting less motivated to shoot videos because I'm realizing I'm not producing any money with this. Because don't get me wrong, video's fun. But if you don't make money doing something, you start realizing it's a lot less fun. Right? You're not monetizing, you start realizing you're putting time, energy, and effort, and you're not getting a return. So when you do it and you're not making money, it becomes less fun. And when you start doing it, you realize that there's no goal, it becomes less fun. So what I want to do is give you guys the roadmap, the thing to follow, so you guys will make more money doing it, you guys will create a better brand, and you'll have more fun doing it. Next slide, please. 0 to 100. Here we go. So like I said, I kind of want to introduce myself. I went from being an ISA Todd. So you were at the mastermind last year at US, right?
2 years.
Oh, you were on 2 years ago.
We were both there.
Yeah, so that was a really good one. So at that time, I was running a call call center. Didn't really have a brand for myself. I wasn't running it, but I was like one of the managers of the call center. And I was also a caller. I was doing ISA calling from 8 a.m. on the East Coast to 8 p.m. on the West Coast. So I was calling over 15 hours a day all over the country. And then one day, after the Key West Mastermind, we decided to start our own business. And from that time to now, it's been 2 years. We have one business in all 50 states. We have another business in 35 states. We've held over 10,000 agents, live events with over 10,000 agents tuning in. We're working with top agents. And the reason I want to show you guys this is because we started with no brand, absolutely nothing, followed this system and this process to now be able to have this, go live, speaking events like this, all through our video process. And it's a process that we've been able to duplicate for so many more agents on top of that too. Next slide, please. The graveyard is filled with unwritten books. Has anybody heard this saying before? No? Alright, so good saying. Here's a new saying for you guys. The graveyard is filled with unwritten books. So this is basically saying, for all the people out there, we all have the story that we can tell, right? And then if we don't tell it, usually I was going to say in the book, it was like your story was going to go untold. But now the saying is going to be, the graveyard is filled with unwritten videos, with unwritten stories. Why? Because we can tell our video, we can tell our stories, we can tell our message through videos now. It doesn't have to be writing an entire book. I always say, I like to take my real estate hat off here for a second. And when I'm talking about videos, my grandkids, my great-grandkids, we could go 10 generations back. They're going to have a perfect idea of who I was, what I did, who I was on a daily basis, my personality, where I was going, what I was doing. Why? Because I shoot so many videos, right? We always have this thing, where it's like, what is my legacy going to be? That's what I'm saying. Sometimes video is bigger than just real estate. We say we don't want to know what we look like. We don't want people to hear what we sound like. We're scared of people to know what we want to look like. Think about generational wise. What about your great-grandkids? Do you want them to know what you look like, what you sounded like, what your personality was, what you were doing? I want them to know, right? This is so much better than just real estate sometimes. Yeah, it's great to build a brand, but if they ever need to duplicate and get a carbon copy of me, they're going to get a pretty good idea of what that is because of all these videos I've shot. I think my max is I went live 9 times in one day. I'm trying to beat that. I need to get the double digits. 9 times. It just doesn't sound as good now that I say 9 times. I need to get to 10. But I went live 9 times in one day. There's no such thing as not too many lives. Let's go to the next slide, please. You are the brand. I think it's super important to discuss this because when I talk about brand, I talk about messaging. A lot of times, we're thinking like real estate. It's about real estate and all these things. But has anybody here heard of Simon Sinek?
Yeah.
Simon Sinek? Start with why, right? He has a great thing about start with why. I open his door.
Yeah. Oh, I finished.
Yeah, that'd be great.
You'll turn the heat on yesterday.
Well, yeah, it was so
Awesome.
hot. Yeah.
So,
Those tweety buddies.
what we're talking about, you are the brand. Simon Sinek, start with why. So what he's talking about, like the start with why, it's a great subject. It's a great subject for this. He's referring to like why Apple, why iPhone crushes their competition, right? Because the competition is going to sit there and they're going to say, we sell the best phones, we sell the best computers, buy from us. By Apple, they're going to sit there and they're going to say, we specialize in the human experience. We want to make sure we have the most innovative company to help people like advance with technology. We just so happen to sell the best computers, right? They hit with that why, they hit with their reason that they're doing business, right? So let's think about this from another perspective. A lot of times people, they buy the agent. It's not necessarily the brand, like it's not necessarily the company that you're with, it's not necessarily your system, but they buy the person doing it, right? So when we're shooting videos, we're saying, here are 3 reasons you should work with a real estate agent. That's great. But it's got to be more so about you. It's got to be your story. It's got to be yourself as this brand. I'm going to need you to go to the next slide, please. Because we get into this story here. So, at one time, I was working with this agent up in Canada. And, this is when I was doing my calling coaching, right? So, he was this top agent, top performer for multiple years in a row. And he gets off to his first quarter start, and he's just in an absolute slump. You know, he can't close the deal, he can't do anything right. He's just coming, he's like, man, I'm just losing things out left and right. Couldn't figure out why. What really broke the camel's back was when he lost a listing appointment to an absolute brand new agent, never sold a home before. The dude was like 22 years old, and he's like 45 years old, veteran agent. He's like, what the hell is happening? So as a good agent, you know, you lose the listing, you want to call that person back. You want to say, hey, why, like, what was the reason? Just out of curiosity, why did you let the other person over me? You know what they just said? They just felt like they were the right person. Has anyone heard this before? Yeah. So they just felt like they were the right person. So what happened was, he was just so worried about his numbers. He was so worried about, I'm going to go and I'm going to close it out. It's all going to be about the numbers. I'm worried about what my end result is, right? And he forgot to get that personal aspect in there and say, that person, what happened was that person thought the other agent was going to run through a brick wall to sell their home. They didn't believe our agent would do that. So once he made that switch, that transition, he started making it more about them and about his brand, right? He started making it more so about his emotional side, telling stories. He started crushing it. Next slide. So this is what leads to this right here. People are sold based on emotion and justified logic. So this is what I want to ask if everybody here was an EXP and they are, right? How do I know this is true? If everybody was sold based on logic, everyone would be an EXP right now, right? Because logically, if you break it down, EXP is a good decision for like your business, for your company, for your family, everything. But here's what gets in the way. Emotion, ego. You have this tie, you hear these people saying, oh, don't listen to them, they're the devil, they're the bad people, you don't want to listen to EXP, right? So how do I know people are sold based on emotion and justified logic? That's a great example right there. If everybody was sold based on logic, they would all be an EXP already, right? So let's think about the same thing when we're shooting videos, when we're creating a brand. What does that mean? Well, it means, you know, when we're shooting these videos, a lot of times we're sitting there and we're talking about, here are 3 reasons to work in real estate, right? But what we're doing is we're just telling people logically, here's what you need to do to look for an agent. What are they going to do? They're going to go and call their agent that's top of mind. They're going to go call the person like, oh, 3 reasons to work with an agent. Here are 3 reasons you should sell right now. They watch the video, and logically they're like, oh, that makes sense. Then they're going to go call the agent that they know right now. But emotionally, if we start shooting videos based on emotion, we're going to start talking about the reason they should sell with us right now. What are some different things that we're doing? What's something in the situation that like there's this time when I say to this person $10,000 by going through this listing process. Let me show you what this listing process is. Where you can start making it more so emotionally tied to it with time and money, then people are going to be more interested in working with us and not just with any other agent. So, what are 2 things everybody wants more of? Time and money. It's usually works better if I say it and then bring the slide up, but time and money, right? Everybody wants more time and money. So I'm saying this because if in our videos we can show people how to do something in less time and make more money, that's always 2 things that people are going to want more of. So making videos that are around this certain subject. Next slide, please. Data and attention. So right now, I'm actually going to go to the next slide, please, because this is the next one better. There we go. So this is Grant Cardone. So you guys familiar with Grant Cardone? So we base a lot of our things based on what Grant Cardone does. Why? Because this guy absolutely masters attention. And so many times when we're thinking about this, here's what happens when, so I was working at a call center. One of the things we couldn't figure out is we were called 5 hours a day for one client. We'd have enormous leads. We'd have our best callers on the account. We'd get maybe 1 or 2 listings a month. And then for another client, we call it 2 hours a day. We do circle dialing. And circle dialing is like you just call random numbers throughout the neighborhood, right? And we would get 5 to 6 listings a month. And this would happen time and time again. We were trying to figure out what it was. The first place you always look at is the leads, right? You figure out like, okay, where are the leads coming from? How good are they? It wasn't that. Then we look at the callers, look at all these things. But what it came down to was the agent that had a better brand, we were to absolutely crush it for. Because imagine this, I'm calling your neighbor and I'm saying, hey, I'm calling on behalf of Todd. You're like, who's Todd? Never heard of him before. Or you call and say, hey, I'm calling on behalf of Todd. Like, oh, Todd, the guy who does the community events, the guy who interviews my local mortgage lender, the guy who interviewed XYZ. They know who he is. So this is the step that everybody was missing. the business cycle, a lot of times people just go into getting their contact information and giving them a call. The first thing we have to do is gain their attention and then get their interest generated in us as a specific agent, right? Because once we gain their attention, we gain their information, then we can reach out to them. Video does that. Video is that missing link from, instead of buying more leads, to converting on the leads that we already have, right? Because we are gaining their attention and we are getting their interest generated. Next slide. Here's just something really good to keep in mind, right? If we're sitting here, we're sitting at an event like this, nobody here is on social media right now, right? I hope you're not. Because people go on social media because they're lazy and they're bored, right? And it's a simple fact. People go on social media, they're sitting there at night, that's when they're scrolling on social media. They go on at night during these times. Go to the next slide, please. Perfect. And can you play this video? Oh, will it play? No, it won't download? Alright, that's fine. So this video, so do you guys remember when Mark Zuckerberg was like on trial? They had this whole thing going on, and one of the old guys, you can see he's a little bit older over there, he was so confused. He just did not understand how Facebook works. And it's funny because this made me think, a lot of us really don't know like how Facebook works, like what's the mechanisms behind it. We just know it's free. When things are free, we don't tend to think about it. Like, great, it's free, I'm just going to go on there and I'm going to start doing it. But why is it free? He asked Mark this question. He said, oh, jeez. No, don't worry about it. I almost remember this one. So it's funny because he asked Mark the same thing. He's like, how can we provide a platform that's absolutely free to people? Like, how does that work? He said, Senator, we run ads, right? And that was the thing that I zoomed out his face and there's a bunch of memes about this. But that's the thing. Facebook is free because they run ads. So when we think about it, the importance of entertaining, this is what it is. Because if our videos, if our content is not entertaining, this is how the algorithm works. If it's more entertaining, they're going to keep it at the top. Why? Because that video, that content, that message is going to keep more people on their app. The longer they're on the app, the more ads they can run to people. You guys following? Right. So the more entertaining we can make our videos, it's not just about, hey guys, here are 3 ways I can sell your own more. Not entertaining. You scroll by it, and then all of a sudden your videos are going to go down and down and down. So when you mess up in your videos, well, I'm not saying you custom your videos, but I've done bloopers, that's what keeps people on because they're watching like, what the heck is this kid going to do next? So I do a bunch of videos. I do videos where I jump through snow piles. I was driving my four-wheeler and jumping off. So we were doing like a bunch of crazy videos, and we were just entertaining the audience. But we're going to go through ways that we can entertain our audience without having to do all that. Can you go on the next slide? All right, pro tip.
Make sure you leave.
Wow. All right, that was me. Wow. Pro tip. Show me. All right, so we think our competition is other real estate agents, right? So we go on to the man, how can I shoot a video better than Daniel right now, right? He's got how many views, he's got how many likes, how can I compete with him? Here's our competition on social media. Booties and babies. Yes. You go on Instagram, you think of Instagram, what gets the most likes, what gets the most views? These dang Instagram models, right? These dang Instagram models, they're at the top of the feeds, you go to the search engine and they're just like, you can't help, they're everywhere, right? You go on Facebook, and it's more so like, Instagram's more the Instagram models, Facebook's more the babies, right? You go on there, somebody has a new kid, they had somebody to their family, their baby's doing something, doing to get pictures, gets hundreds of views, hundreds of likes. I almost thought about having a kid just to get them up on social media. Wouldn't be a good idea though, but you know, that's what, it's funny, the other one is puppies too, and Al Stacy just got his new puppy, he's been posting about him, like, yeah, we're really building things, like, you know. But
People love dogs.
People love dogs, puppies, babies, but here is our competition, right? Our competition is not this other real estate agents for social media. Because a lot of times we think social media is like, man, I'm not going to compete against these agents. We're competing against this right here. So that's why it's so important when we talk about entertaining people, when we talk about what's going on in our videos, what are we saying, what's in the background. We got to keep in mind that we're not just competing against Joe Schmo down the block. We're competing against these Instagram models to get to the top of people's feeds, right? So again, Facebook, it's all about social media. People go there. Why? Because they're lazy and bored. When they're lazy and bored, they want something to keep their attention. So I'm not saying this to scare us away from videos. I'm going to give us some very easy ways to grab people's attention. But it's just very important to keep in mind. There are so many more things on social media than just other real estate agents and even people in the industry. This is our competition. Next slide. Here is your guys, this is a writer down right here, guys. Entertain, educate, and execute. We always say, like, how do we shoot our videos? What is the format that we use? You'll notice almost all of my videos are going to follow this exact process, right? So step one is entertaining. And I'm not saying you got to do it like a song and a dance at the beginning of each one, so that might work. But, and for the record, I feel like I always have to say this. I'm not saying to post your booty on social media. That's not what I'm saying in the last slide. That's not the entertainment we're looking for. The entertainment we're looking for is something to grab their attention right away. So here's another write down. Look up the top 10 most interesting places in your city, right? In your city, in your area, and go and shoot your videos there. Why? Because the people already told you this is someplace I find interesting. This is something that's going to grab their attention, right? So, and then here's another one. We talked about limiting beliefs, like my hair, my makeup, like what am I going to look like? It's not my best outfit. If you go and shoot your video in a place with a great background, guess what, guys? They're probably going to be looking at the background and not you so much. So that's going to help you out too, right? They're going to be like, man, that's a cool background. What's going on? So you shoot your videos there, it's great. And another great way to entertain too, it's crazy, but like when you're walking and you're shooting your videos, I feel like you're walking through this area here. If you're walking, like even down like one of these paths, doing a walking video keeps people guessing like where are they going to be next, right? They're watching the background, and chances are, again, guys, they're watching the background of things that are going on. They're listening to you, but they're watching the background like, oh, where are they going to be? Where are they going to go? It keeps people entertained, right? They're thinking in their mind when they're watching, they're seeing this video, and you're walking like, where are they going? Right?
Where are they?
Yeah.
Where are they?
Exactly, right? Where are
This
they?
morning,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
were driving in your video, I was trying to figure out what neighborhood you were in.
I actually drove by here because I was on the sales call,
Yeah.
and I was down here to the left.
Okay.
So there's like another neighborhood over
Yeah.
here. But yeah, that's a great example, you know? Like, you're not, like, and for the people who are worried about, like, they're always going to look at me, they're looking at the background. They're like, why is he in this car? Or they're worried about, why is he wearing a seatbelt? Michelle Hughes would not let me shoot another video until I wore my seatbelt. So, so I started wearing my seatbelt. But the entertainment portion, and again, this is where you can do props, right? That's why I said one of my videos, I rode my four-wheeler up to the video camera, like stopped it and jumped off. The video had nothing to do with the four-wheeler, right? But it got people's attention. That's what took us to the next step. Educate. The education portion, this is where you start going into, I think the easiest way to do this is by telling a story, right? So when I say like telling the story, it's not like, here are 3 reasons you should work in real estate. It's more so of, man, so I was working with my last client, there are 3 things that we did with this client. The first thing that we did with them was this, to overcome that. So when you tell a story, it keeps people involved. Why? Because people want to know how a story ends. So people want to know how a story ends, and they want to see like where you're going with it. Again, you're dragging them along, you're walking them through the process, and you can still hit your 3 reasons to work in Realty, your 3 reasons to work with you. Here are 2 things that I did to help save my last client tens of thousands of dollars. Does that keep me interested? Yes, because I want to save tens of thousands of dollars, right? If not, just here are 3 things you can do to save money. That's great. But man, my last client, we saved thousands of dollars by just doing this. And then you walk them through it. The great part about this format is, one, if you follow this, it works. But the next one is, like when you follow the story format, you're not really held onto this whole thing of like, I need to go find a bunch of reasons to go shoot videos. You start using your real life scenarios, right? We're going to get into your pillars of the brand next. But you can start using just what really happens on the day of a real estate agent, and you'll start noticing these things all the time. So there's no good way of leading into this. So I text myself all the time, right? I'm constantly texting myself. When I say that, I don't like message back and like have a conversation, right? That'd be a little weird. You guys probably need to get me help with that. But I'm not like messaging myself back and forth, right? But I'm going through my day and something happens, I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. So I text myself that, right? I'm listening to a podcast and they say like, you guys listen to a podcast, now one line just resonates with you, and then you kind of lose it, and then you lose it because you listen to so much more. What I do is that one line resonates with me, boom, I text myself that. What about this? Laying in bed at night. How many great ideas you guys have laying in bed at night? When you're sitting there, you're thinking about your day, you're thinking about everything going on, you're probably scrolling through and watching other people's videos, which, by the way, that could be you too, right? I mean, you're someone scrolling through and they watch your video, but you're scrolling through and watching videos like, man, that'd be a great idea. And you're like, oh, I'll remember that in the morning, and it doesn't happen. Nope, I text myself that. So if we go on my phone, don't go on my phone right now, but if we went into my phone right now, you saw all the text to myself, it's just all these ideas of what I just want to shoot videos. Because has anybody been in a room and thought like, man, this would be a great place to shoot a video, but then had no idea what to do, right? You're like in this second right here, this would be a great place to shoot a video. If I didn't know what to do, I'd go to my phone, I scroll through, I'm like, there it is. I'm able to shoot a video that way, right? So we're talking about creating content. It's not really so much as like, we need to come up with a structure, a format for reasons for real estate agents. No. The way to keep people entertained, the way to keep people involved, and the way to make it easy on you is just to use what you're doing in real estate already. Use your experiences. Of course, you don't want to say people's names, but you can say like, man, so I just got on this last meeting with this client, it went fantastic. But here's one thing that we could have done differently, right? Or we just closed on this house, it went great, we got into this neighborhood, and here's how we saved thousands of dollars. So we went through this process and you can go through from there. The last one is execute, which is one of the commonly most missed steps. And I don't want you guys to miss this one. The execution portion. And now, like I said, I don't have kids, but I'm actually one of 65 cousins, and I'm about like the 5th oldest of all my cousins, right? So I babysat a lot growing up. So the one thing I realized is how many times you have to tell a kid to do something before they finally do it? 5 times, 10 times, maybe they never end up doing it, but 5, 10 times, maybe you have to tell them so many times to do something, right? We have to start treating our audience the same exact way. Like, think about our audience of children. Audience is lazy and bored. What are kids usually? Lazy and bored, right? So when they come to social media, we have to treat them that same way. So the execution is at the end of all my videos, and in most of my videos, I'm telling people to do something. Whether it's go to this link, whether it's call me at this number, the easiest way is to click the link in the comments below. And you want to put it in the comments. If you guys are going to use links for things, the best way to use a link is in the comments. Why? We have to think about Facebook this way. Again, Facebook, they want to make money by keeping people on their ad, right? So if I have a link in the description that says, hey, go to YouTube, go to Google, go to these different places, Facebook picks up on that and they're like, hey, this post is going to take people away from our platform. So they're going to drop you right away. But if you put it in the comments, they don't pick up on the stuff in the comments, it's more so the stuff in the description. Does that make sense?
You just put see links below.
Yeah, just hey, check the link in the comments. And then actually, you know what? I didn't think of this one. Let's get another one. Pro tip.
Yeah.
Show me the link.
Alright, that was good. So here was something that I would do like on high performing videos, right? It was kind of like a ninja shit that I would do. So I would have in the description, see link in the comments, right? So right when the video was done, I would post my link in the comments, right? And then let's say a week goes by, it's got a couple thousand views, got a bunch of people commenting, I'm like, that's a video that my audience likes, right? So what I would do is, I would delete my comments of my link, and then I would repost it below. And you know what happens when you re-comment on a video? I'll just add that to your feed, right? And then all of a sudden, some more people like it, some more people comment, and then another week goes by, I'm like, okay, it's still working. I delete my link comment again, and then I repost it. And then it just keeps popping up at the top of people's feeds. All they keep seeing is my link again, and that video stays at the top of the feed, right? So that's just something really small that you can just keep doing with a certain video just to keep the bandwidth and to keep things going. That's also really important as to making sure that we comment, like respond to people's comments on your post too, right? I know it's something small, but like at the end of the day, just going back and responding to everybody, it keeps kicking back up to the top of your feed. Right? But the execute part, the reason I say this is so important is because if I shoot a video once and I tell you to go to the website, I hate to break it to you, there's no video I can tell you guys to shoot. One video, and then you guys just get a bunch of leads and everything's rocking and rolling, right? It takes consistency, and it takes like being consistent with with a consistent call to action. Because I got to tell you to go to this link time and time and time again. Maybe the 5th time you finally go there, right? But I have to tell you to go there. I have to make it so simple. Because you have to look at things nowadays. Why is Netflix taking over so much shit? Because Netflix made it so easy to watch videos, so easy to stream. There's no ads, there's nothing. You literally go to Netflix, I want to watch a video, I click one. Why did Uber take over a bunch of things? Because all you have to do on Uber is open the app, type an address, and click go. The simpler you can make it to work with you, this is going to translate to the real estate industry too. If you don't think that way, if you don't start thinking that way of why other companies are crushing it and thinking that it's going to be the same thing in real estate, we're going to get behind the 8 ball. But if you're an agent and you can make it easier to work with you than somebody else, people are going to take the easier option. That's why the most used button on the internet is the back arrow. Why? Because people go to a website like, oh, it's not easy to use, back, they'll go to a new one. The most utilized button is the back arrow, because when people don't find something easy, they're going to go back. I'll spend a half hour looking for an easy website when it's going to take me 10 minutes just looking for, like, zooming in on a hard website, right? It's the same thing with real estate agents. If I can't easily say, here's how I work with you, here's where I find more information, here's what I am, here's what my personality is online. If we can't make it easily accessible, they're going to go find somebody else who is, right? Let's think about it this way. I said no social media, but I want everybody to open up their Facebook right now. All right? You all your phones on you. Open up your Facebook and go to your profile. Okay? I'm not going to ask you to share anything. So if you guys a couple seconds, let me know when you guys are all there, okay? You're there? I want you to scroll down just a couple times. Scroll through your feed. And I want you to think, if I was somebody looking, like searching up a real estate agent right now, would I hire you based on your feed? Based on what you see on your Facebook right now, would I hire this person? Right? Think about like the videos you post. Think about the memes. Because here's what's happening.
Yeah, it's not political, so they hired me.
Well, there you go. But as compared to another agent who has a bunch of videos, has a bunch of content, would they hire you solely based off your feed? Because here's what's happening. When people are looking up individuals now, I think it's 65% of people or more are going through Facebook now more than Google. If you're looking up a business, you're going to go to Google. If you're looking up individuals, more people are going to social media, going to Facebook, going to Instagram to look up individuals. So now your resume is what you're looking at right now. It's not all these reviews and all these great things that you've been doing all these places. Your resume, the reason why some people are picking you and some people are picking another agent, you're looking at. So right now, would you hire yourself based on what you see? And I'll tell you what, if you go post more videos, people can feel like they know you, and they feel like they know you more, they feel like they know your personality. We also have to think about this. These leads that don't know who we are strangers walking up to their doorstep. We are strangers meeting them in places. They're peeking out the windows like, hey, is that Todd? I don't know. Is he 6'7"? I have no idea. Right? Like, if Todd was walking up to my house and I didn't know how big he was, I've never seen a video, I'd be like, am I opening my door to this guy right now? Right? Like, people would be thinking twice if they don't already see you, they don't know your personality. They don't know Todd's a great guy because they just talked to him on the phone once and he's coming to their house. Right? It's the same thing with everybody else. If we just talk to them on the phone once, we talk to these leads, we're doing a great job, but when they come up to the door, they just get a little nervous because, like, I don't know them, I don't see them. But with video, we can take that out. Like I said with Daniel, I could have sworn we met in person before, but you said we didn't. But it was just through Zoom, it was through videos. I felt so comfortable seeing you that you could just walk right up to them. So this is the format that all videos follow. Entertain, educate, execute. Entertain, use your background, use your props, right? Educate, and then execute. We go to the next slide, please. All right, pro tip.
Show me the money.
Pro tip.
Show me the money.
All right, this next one. Turning contacts into contracts. We always say the only difference between a contact and a contract is the R, the relationship that we have, right? The stronger relationships that we have, the more contacts go into contracts, right? Whether it's EXP, or whether it's agent, or whether it's people that we want to work with, sellers and buyers, right? So turning contacts into contracts, and I think it actually goes to the next one too. Yeah, all right. It's a great picture, right? So, we were talking about puppies a little bit earlier too. So that's part of the entertainment portion. That's not what we're going to talk about here. What I want to talk about here is, I want to ask people in the room here this. What do they say is the one thing you shouldn't do if you don't plan on keeping a puppy? Name it. Thank you. Because once you name it, it becomes real, right? It becomes like something. It becomes like, oh man. What would you guys name this guy really quick? Thoughts and names. Goldie? Alright. I think Al just named his dog Snoop Dogg. I'm like, alright. Throw Snoop Dogg right now. Yeah, so he's got Snoop Dogg looks just like this. So like let's just take away Snoop. But we call this tactic name the puppy. Because when we're working at the call center, this helps us increase our conversions on appointments by 22%. So from the times our guys would set an appointment, that agent going there and closing it down, we saw a 22% higher increase rate. We did the same thing with, you guys know Sekou Pile?
Yeah.
Does anybody know Sekou? If you don't know Sekou, you should know him. He does a great job with his calling. He's all about making calls. He has an appointment academy. It's all free. Definitely look him up. We implemented the same thing with Sekou. I saw a 20% increase in their conversion rates by doing this one thing. And we called it Name the Puppy. So here's what we're going to do. The second you hang up the phone, the first time you have a conversation with somebody, right? Whether it's an appointment, whether it's even a referral, whether it's something like you just hang up the phone with them and you had a talk about real estate. Here's what you do. Take out your phone. You say, hey Todd, great talking to you. I look forward to meeting you tomorrow at 6 o'clock. 7. It's not difficult. You don't need a huge script. It's so crazy, but here's what you just did. You just basically, you made yourself human. You made yourself somebody that they see your personality, that they feel like they know who you are at this point, right? Because when you're on the phone and you're talking to people, whether we love to admit it or not, like when I'm on the phone with somebody, even if I know who they are, I'm picturing what they're doing, what they're looking like, where they're at, where they're going, right? We have this whole mental image of what that other individual is. Now imagine you don't know who that person is. You're creating this whole mental image of somebody that can be so completely off. What you want to do is you want to make yourself human. You pretty much want to name yourself so they see you smiling. And the reason we saw a higher conversion rate is because they saw what we looked like, they saw our personality, and at the end of the day, what it does is it makes you human. You know, sometimes when you're on the phone with somebody, especially telemarketers, how evil are people on the phones, right? Like people can be so mean. Why is it? Because they don't even like to think of you as a human. Well, I'm disappointed with a puppy. They don't even like to think of you as like a human. They don't like to think of you as like somebody else. They're this evil person who's sitting in their cubicle, who's calling me, who just wants to mess up my day, right? But when we call them, we have a great conversation, set an appointment, and then we send them a video message. Then they see that, number one, we're human, we're smiling, they're like, man, I don't want to cancel on this guy. He looks like he or she looks like a great person. They're smiling. They feel like you're closing that gap of that relationship. So now they're less likely to cancel on you. They're less likely not to show up. They're more likely to reschedule because you humanized yourself, right? So it's as simple as sending people a video message to get to that next step. All right, so there's one more video message that I love to send. So this one's already number 2. And this one, I'll tell you what. This video message, we got this video message actually an idea from Key West 2 years ago. So if you know anything about this table I'm about to say, you'll know that this high-powered table that I was sitting at. So it's actually about 3:30 a.m. at Irish Kevin's. Remember Irish Kevin's? Yeah, Irish Kevin's. We're sitting there, it was a good time, you know, the mastermind has ended, but we're all going to be there one more day, right? And Al Stacy, he's my mentor, he's got me into real estate from Cleveland too. He's like, hey Nick, how would you like to go to breakfast tomorrow with me, Gene Frederick, Brent Gill, Mike Reese, and Jim Kinger? Like I said, if you know those names, those are names you want to know. I think all those guys are in Puerto Rico now, right? Yeah. All those guys live in Puerto Rico now because of what they know in the HB. So he asked me to come to this meeting. I'm like, yeah, well, when is it? He's like, about 2.5 hours. I'm like, let's go to sleep. So go to sleep. I ended up waking up and I went to this breakfast. And there was one more, it's not this one, but it's another message. But Gene Frederick would do this one thing every time he would follow up with people. He would say, hey, I was just thinking about you, and then he would like insert a message of like what they just talked about, right? What they follow up with. Hey, I was just thinking about you. So what we did is we brought that over to video message, right? Text message. And it is so freaking powerful. We would do this for leads, because we had a whole database of leads when I was at the call center. Leads that we couldn't get on the phone for months, half a year, a year. We would send a video message saying, hey, I was just thinking about you. I drove by your neighborhood. The house would look beautiful. How's it going? You know how many responses we were getting? And here's the killer part. So you would say, hey, Todd, I was just thinking about you. It really doesn't matter what you say next. Who would love to get a text about that like today? You know, like so one of your friends just said like, hey man, I was just thinking about you. I just want to follow up and see how you're doing. Like shit, man, you were just thinking about me. You almost have to respond to that. You're playing to people's emotions. It's almost like their ethicalness, right? Like how ethical are you? Like if somebody sent me that message, there has to be some type of person not to respond, right? So I was like, hey, first name, I was just thinking about you. And just go through your notes. That message is absolute gold. And again, I want to kind of give some reference into some recruiting tactics too. You want to stay on top of agents? Gene said it best. He said, when we're recruiting agents, what we want to do is we want to treat them better than where they're being treated. If I am more responsive, if I am more in front of them, if I create a better relationship, show that I care more about them than their current manager, it's like, it doesn't matter if I'm at ABC brokerage. Oh yeah, and then again, back to the Simon Sinek model, I care about you more, we have better coaching, we have better training. Oh yeah, and we just so happen to have rev share. That follows, it doesn't lead, right? So this message, hey, I was just thinking about you, is absolute gold. I use it in my personal life, I send it to my mom, I send it to my family, all the time. It's fantastic, guys. The responses you get is amazing. Why? You're turning contacts into contracts by forming better relationships. You think another agent out there right now is sending someone a video message like, hey, I was just thinking about you, I drove by your neighborhood, or I was just thinking about you, Kevin, you know, I know things are getting crazy right now, I just wanted to follow up with you. Start those conversations back up. You're going to form better relationships and you're going to show that you actually care. That video message, and again, this video message, guys, don't watch it, okay? There's actually this one video message that I sent. We closed out this person. So what happened was I was shooting a video message, I messed up and I swore, and then my business partner started throwing shit at me. So I sent out like papers hit me in the head, like screw it, I was going to keep going. So I continued through it, and I sent them the message. They were hysterically laughing, they called me right away, they were dying laughing. But we started the conversation, it was really cool. I've never talked to the person before too, which was pretty random, but they just got a message from some random guy cussing, getting things thrown at him, saying, screw it, what are you doing anyways? They called me right back, we were talking, we were FaceTiming. One of my clients and good friends now too. But because I just sent the message, I didn't watch it, I just got done with it. But the script for that, quote unquote, is, hey, first name, I was just thinking about you. You hit that, it doesn't even matter what you say next. That person's already so smitten that they're like, I'm going to message this person back. Right? So here's what it is. No, we can stay here because I haven't even talked about this yet. Competition versus domination, right? A lot of times when we're thinking, yeah, go ahead.
I want to add to that. I think a lot of people, some people will hear that and say, but that's not true. But it is true, right? You're saying on this message because you're just thinking about it.
Yeah.
So sometimes, like, at first you hear that, you're like, but how sincere is that? But it's actually true. You're sending them because you're just thinking about it.
Right. Whether you're thinking about them because you want to remember your leads, you were just thinking about them. So that's a good point. And something else to note with this too is, do not shoot these in like a video studio, right? Because if you're shooting there, you know, like you have your lights on you, you have like a camera, and you're like, hey, Todd, I was just thinking about you. Yeah. Alright, so some videos, like your interviews, like other videos, yeah, you can go with them. But if you're sitting there in a room and you're like, hey Todd, I was just thinking about you, you're like, no, you weren't. Like you're sitting there, you shoot videos. Shoot these videos when you're walking back to your car. Shoot these videos when you're sitting there waiting for a listing appointment. You're waiting for somebody to buy or to show up. You know, you got 2 minutes. There was one time, I had 5 minutes in between calls. I walked outside, I shot 10 video messages just like that. Hey, I was just thinking about you, sent them out, and I went live, just saying that you can do all this within 5 minutes. Stopped and got back to my car. Like these video messages, I don't want these to be some long, drawn-out thing. If you guys give me 2 minutes a day, you can send out 3 video messages, right? If you send out 3 video messages every single day to potential clients, to potential leads, that is what? 900 plus in a year? Almost like 1,100-ish in a year. 3 video messages a day. Just saying, hey, I was just thinking about you. So all those past leads, all those people in there, you're going to get some business out of that. So competition versus domination, right? So many times I hear, oh, if you're going to post a video, you have to post it at this time, right? Has anybody heard that? Like, you got to post it at these certain times? Yeah, that's bullshit, okay? So here's why.
Plain and simple.
No, seriously, it's bullshit. Here's why. Because, yes, I get it. There's sometimes more people on social media than others. And you know what happens is, oh, I missed 8 a.m. and I can't post today. Gotta do it tomorrow. Gotta wait to do this video. And then also we're just procrastinating, right? Oh, I missed 8 a.m. Can't do it anymore. Oh, I missed 6 o'clock. Yeah, can't do it anymore. Like, I missed these great times. No. You're competing. You're thinking about competing with everybody else. You're just thinking about keeping up and competing. I'm talking about domination because if you post one video and it gets 1,000 views, great. I'll post 10 videos in that same amount of time, get 500-600 views on each. But here's the thing too, we gotta keep in mind. We post that one amazing video, right? Highly edited, all these things going on. When we post that video, we get 1,000, let's say 2,000 views. Those are 2,000 individuals, right? So they watch my video once. So it's like I'm driving by a billboard and I see it once. It might be the best billboard ever. But I only drove by it once, right? Instead of posting 7 videos, and then that one individual sees it 4 times, another individual sees 3 of the videos, and I'm just dominating their mind shit, right? They drove by my billboards 5, 6, 7 times, so they see it over and over. So it's not always about just having that one video that's the best video ever. It's about dominating the space, posting more, being in front of people more. That is how you dominate. That is how you stay top of mind. You send them a video message, they see you on Facebook, you're on all these platforms by just posting more videos. That's what domination looks like. Competing is waiting until 8 a.m., posting and saying, man, I did a good job. Pat yourself and go on for the rest of your day. Screw that. Yeah, okay. It's cool. It might give yourself a rhythm. But the dominators out there are going to be posting more times. I post at 4 a.m., 10 p.m., 12 p.m. I'm not at 12 a.m. I'm not saying, the only time I say don't post is if you've been drinking a bit. Because you might think you're going to sound great, have a great idea. Don't do it.
What is the problem with me? I'm in the studio drinking.
Well, but here's the thing, you know? When we say that, I thought of something. I said, the only time I'll say to do that is if you have a close friend and you can send them a video message. That's it. But besides that, no, don't do it. Next slide, please. Alright, so there's a little exercise for us here. So Todd's already did this with me once. So I want you guys to walk out here with pretty much a good content vault and a place to start. Alright? So creating your pillars of the brand. This is important because Nike, that's all they know. We all know Nike, right? When Nike has something on brand, everybody falls in line like that's great. Makes sense. When Nike does something off brand, everybody's up in arms too. It's like, oh my god, this is what Nike says, or blah blah blah. They get all up in arms. We never tend to think like, what is on brand for certain people? Because here's what happens. A lot of times if we don't create our pillars of the brand and have all of our videos and all of our content fall within this, one person can watch my videos and be like, man, I'm late today. I'm not going to be way over here. And I'm going to lose this audience. I'm going to get more people that are late today. And I'm going to be back over here. And what we have is a crowd, right? We have random people tuning in at random times and other people are tuning out. What we want is an audience. And what's an audience? An audience buys a ticket to hear a band to play at this time, to be in this location. They know exactly what they're doing there, right? We want the same thing with our brand. So our pillars of the brand. Here, we want 3 pillars of the brand, okay? The first pillar, and I'm going to walk you guys through this, is going to be real estate, all right? Pretty simple, pretty across the board. So what I would like you guys to do, create like 3 columns on your page. If you have a sheet, you can just write it on a sheet. If you have your phone, you can just write it at the top. First pillar is going to be real estate. Second pillar is going to be personal growth. Okay? It's pretty standard across the board. So real estate, personal growth. The last one is going to be your niche. Alright? I'll give you some examples. we talk about like creating content, a lot of times it's just coming up with certain stories of the time we overcame something, right? It's always great to start with the problem. Why? Because when we think about it, we think about the news. I don't like watching the news, but they have some great concepts that they follow. I watch the news because we also do our own interviews, and on those interviews, you know, we kind of format like what the news channels look like, so we use like their overlays and things, right? But what the news also does is, what do they always show? They always show bad news, right? They always show bad things that are happening. Why? Because they did their research. If everybody loved watching good news, they would be flooded with it. But research shows more people tune in when it's not so good. So how can we duplicate that with us? I'm not saying go out there and promote bad news, but what I want us to do is come up with ideas, a time we had to overcome something, a time we had a roadblock. And that's, again, part of the entertainment function is, man, there was a time when, okay, one of my videos was I got a bad haircut, right? I got a haircut I didn't want, and that was like the tagline of my video. Man, they just messed up my hair. I told a story about that. So that would be more so about personal, but with the real estate, I want everybody, I'm going to put 45 seconds on the clock, all right? And what I want you to do is write as many stories about real estate, a time you had to overcome something, a time in real estate you worked with a crazy client, a time when you had a lead problem. Does everybody kind of get what we're supposed to do?
Yeah.
All right? And I just want you to write as many specific examples of times you had to do that within 45 seconds. All right? And go. About halfway through. And Todd. I don't feel bad picking on Todd. Todd, why don't you give me an example of one of your stories?
One was just two buyers who went through, getting multiple offers, and how to win the business.
Right. Okay, you have a specific story about that?
Yeah, I mean, one of them, we created a, I don't know what we did. Created a multiple offer situation, they had a multiple offer situation, so we went in, had a buyer letter, we did the escalation clause, talked to the agents, video ahead of time, let us know who the buyer is and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Another one was keeping a buyer on, on tap just in case the other offer fell apart, which we ended up getting. That was the second one where we didn't get it, but they came back to us because it was the second highest.
Yeah. No, I love it. And like when you have multiple offers, multiple buyers, like, man, we didn't think we were going to get this house because how many offers were on it? Dot, dot, dot. Man, we thought we were going to lose this dream house for a client because of all the offers. Dot, dot, dot. And that's just the tagline. That's the headline, right? And then you just get into your story and start talking about it. Right? Does anybody else want to share one?
I'll share one that's funny. I mean,
Okay.
does that
I like a funny one, yeah.
I had a listing over in Shannon Downs in Lake Marion years ago.
Yeah.
And I was showing it to a potential buyer.
Yeah.
And it had a really nice pool fountain feature.
Yeah.
And I wanted to turn that on so it'd be all happy. Told you this story before. And when I went to mess with the pool pump to turn it on, the pipe busted.
Right.
And like water shot at, like literally straight at me.
Right,
I
right.
just got completely drenched and I'm there with the buyers and I had to go in the seller's like bathroom to get towels.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
It was the most embarrassing thing. We turned it into a funny thing, but yeah, it was that's kind of,
That would be a great video. I would love to hear about that.
That was before video, I think. Before there was video, no, it
Well,
was
we're
not.
talking about video and about shooting videos like
15 years
this.
ago.
It doesn't have to be like just after yesterday, right? Tell the stories about before. So you want to share one too?
So this is my second deal in real estate. I assumed the washer and dryer was included in the contract. And we're doing the walkthrough and they're like, where are the front loaders? I'm like, so literally I had to give them credit for washer and dryer so they could
Right.
and
It's a learning curve, right?
I'm like,
That's a great learning experience, right?
Yeah.
Well, and here's what we do too. Because when we shoot these videos and we're talking about things, we have to keep in mind our brand goes bigger than just our buyers and sellers too. You know how many agents can relate to that too? It's like, man, I remember a time when I felt like that exact same way. Because is everybody here a little bit interested in recruiting at some point?
Yeah.
Yeah, right? You know how many agents will sit there and be like, man, that happened to me too, man, you're just like me, right? Or there's an agent out there even better that's thinking that like, oh shit, I thought this was included, maybe I should check it out, right? So when we're doing these things, when we're telling these actual real stories, they're relatable. Something we want to keep in mind when we're shooting these videos, we want to use I, me, and we statements, never you. Okay? When I say that, it's not, here's what you should be doing. Here's what you need to do to get better. Here's what you agents need to do. When you say that, it's very condescending. It's very, I'm smarter than you, listen to me. Right? Instead, what we want to say is like, here's something I went through. Here's something we need to do. Right? Myself, here's something that happened. When we tell stories about ourselves and we use that, people automatically relate it to themselves. Right? You don't have to say like, here's what you need to do to get better. No, here's what we need to do. Here's what I learned. Right? So that same exercise, I want to do it again really quick. This time, personal growth and development. This one's really big about mindset. So I want us to think about what are some times, what are some specific times when you had like an aha moment, when you had a huge mindset shift. It could be about anything in your life, right? Anything personal-wise. Does that make sense? You guys following? All right, so I'm going to give you guys 45 more seconds. Write down as many as you can. All right? And go. About halfway through. And time. So one of mine was always that Key West trip. I went in there thinking like, man, I'm just happy to be here. Funny story, Al actually snuck me in. I wasn't supposed to be there, kind of snuck me into that mastermind. And I was just sitting at one of the tables, right? And I went in there thinking like, man, I'm just happy to be here, you know? All these people are doing such great things, I can never get to their level. I left there thinking like, man, I'm gonna be here, I'm gonna make my way to this table, they're just like me, I can get there, like if they can do it, anybody can do it, right? That huge mindset shift, it was like opening the lid. I thought I was like seeing the world, all of a sudden it's like the lid came off, there was a whole other world out there, right? That was my huge mindset shift from one to the next. It's important that we make things bigger than just real estate. Why? Real estate is what we do, it's not who we are, right? So if we just keep things to just real estate, we're going to be like those companies that are like, well, and the comparison sounds cynic is like those Droid and everybody else, or Mac, or not Mac, where they're just saying like, hey, I'm a real estate agent, I'm the best, work with me. Hey, I'm a real estate agent, I'm the best, work with me. Instead of, here's the personal growth I went through. Here are some things I've done to make myself a better person. I just so happen to be the best real estate agent, right? Why people are so based on emotion, they justify with logic. The emotion is your brand. It's the stories that you tell. Todd gave me an idea too. Multiple offers. Here's another great pro tip. Pro tip. Alright, this one's a really good one right now too, because there are multiple offers happening every single day, right? So, multiple offers. Your person sending an offer. Shoot a video with the person that's submitting the offer, stating why they want the house, right? Shoot a video with them and include that with the offer. Why? Because, like when we did this, one person, it was a lower bid. I think it was like the third lowest bid, but the person who watched the video was like, hey, that person was just like my brother. They just went with that person, just because of that reason. This other family, they were having twins, they were saying like why they need the house, all these other things, and they're like, oh, we have twins too. They sold them the house. You know, it wasn't the best offer. Again, guys, that emotional tie. It's easy to look at numbers on a piece of paper and say, I'm going with them, right? But when you make it a family, when you make it a person, a human being, that's when you're going to differentiate yourself from everybody else. So the video messages work great with multiple offers. Next one, please. What do we got? Here's what it comes down to, though. Interested people, we're going to be here. Rah, rah, let's go shoot some videos, right? We're going to get going. Committed is going to set a schedule. We're going to be committed to doing this. It's really big, just interested versus committed. We just got to ask ourselves, are we interested in creating a brand? Are we interested in shooting videos? Are we interested in making more money? Or are we committed? Right? Next slide, please. Oh, here we go. The one thing I did to grow my audience internationally. Pro tip. All right, next slide. Leverage your sphere. All right. Honestly, real estate agents are really good at two things. Really good. Drinking and meeting people. Right? We're always great at going to masterminds, doing these things, but we're great at meeting so many people. But how are we taking these people and leveraging them to help their business and to help our own? Next slide. Man, I'm killing these pro tips right now. Pro tip.
Show me the money.
Alright. So Greg Cardone has this saying, you know, it says, who's got my money? Right? I think even has a song, who's got my money, right? That's what he made it for me. Here's the one I always say. Who has my audience? Who has my audience of people that I want? Right? That's how I was able to leverage my sphere. Right? I wanted to grow my business in Phoenix. That's a true story. I want to grow my business in Phoenix. So how do I do that? I can run ads, I can try to do all these things, or I can interview Chuck Fazio. Dude has 900 agents on his team, has a huge pool in Phoenix. I can interview him, talk about things we're doing, and guess what? All his agents and all his people who watch that video are in Phoenix. They have my audience, so I interview them, right? I want to interview people in Orlando, so what I do? I interview my man Todd, so all of a sudden I'm getting his audience, who's in Orlando, and I'm gaining his audience, right? We want to do the same thing. Hey, I don't have a big following, great. Go find somebody who does. So when we're talking about interviews, here are people that we can interview. Business owners, mortgage lenders, title reps, past clients, current clients, school district reps, community event builders. There's so many different ways we can interview people. The easiest video to do, guys, is an interview. Why? Because all you got to do is ask questions. And then you seem like the authority. So the first one I want to talk about is this one right here. Here's a video everybody here should start doing. Every 2 weeks, interview your local mortgage lender. Alright? What you want to do is you want to pick specific city, specific neighborhood even, and talk about what's happening in that market. Alright? Why? Because then what you do every 2 weeks, you interview a mortgage lender. What does a mortgage lender have? Two things. Audience. They have an audience, one, of other agents and other companies, right? So you're gaining an audience of agents and other companies, right? They also have an audience of people within your local market, like within your local place. Like here's what you do in this video. Every 2 weeks you go live with them, you take this video, and if you do it through StreamYard, you shoot to Facebook and YouTube at the same time, right? You take your YouTube video and you blast it out to your entire database, right? Say, hey, we just did a local mortgage update. We just did a local real estate update in this neighborhood and this city, right? So you get very specific. Go like and subscribe and watch this video. We've literally seen people's YouTube pages go by 500 subscribers overnight by doing this. Because we sent a list of 10,000 people to a YouTube video of a specific place to go watch. Why is this better than other tactics? Well, the first one is it's actually you in the video. So people are more interested to watch. The next thing is you state their specific area, neighborhood, city, so it's recognizable, right? A lot of times we say, here's a local update for you, or here's a real estate update. It's like a national update. I'm reading this like, this means nothing to me, right? But when you can state something that they understand and they know, they're going to start opening more.
So, just with the mortgage stuff, you might, like, we're going to Bella Vista to go talk about the market in Bella Vista, we might talk about Longwood, the market in Longwood itself, not the neighborhood.
Well, if you want to take over a neighborhood, you can get very specific and go to a neighborhood. Like with the mortgage, I recommend just in the city.
Okay, and you're tagging yourself. I mean, when you're talking, and this local market update in Longwood, when you're tagging yourself on Longwood, you're doing the same interview with them 10 minutes later, you're tagging yourself on
So like let's say one week I'm gonna do Longwood.
Okay.
I would get with a local mortgage lender and I would just talk about the market.
Okay.
Talk about the market in Longwood. Even if it's the same in a different city, you want to tag different cities and you want to
That's
see.
what I mean. So you're tagging, you're on Facebook, you're tagging different cities.
Exactly. So then also you're tagging different cities. And here's the thing, in an email, when I'm sending out to my entire database, some people might be looking at this city. So they're going to be the ones clicking on that video, right? When you can get specific, more people click on it. Even more so on YouTube, when you type those things for the keyword, when people are looking up that city, they're going to find you, right? So when you get specific with cities, all of a sudden, like people, you can use these videos, and guess what? You can keep using these videos and keep sending out to your database, right? So every 2 weeks, you just pick a different city. So then your database is going to get different cities. They're going to see different things. And then the great part about this too, guys, is, like I said, you bring out a mortgage lender who's comfortable with video. You just got to be there and answer questions and look pretty. You don't have to look pretty. You just got to be there and answer questions, right? Or ask the questions. 2 things that I always want to make sure that we cover in this video, though. Because an expert isn't somebody who can say, here is what the market absorption rate is. Alright, so does anybody here watch Friends? Friends, remember that show? Alright, so Friends. There's this one episode, so Joey wasn't the brightest one, right? So this guy would come here, and he like knocked on his door, he was selling almanacs, I think it was, right? He was selling almanacs, and like, they did this part of the show where they asked Joey a question, like, have you ever been in a room and your friends were talking about something and you just sat there and nodded along, but you had no idea what they were talking about? No, they do like the flashbacks and Joey just sit there like, yeah. Has anyone seen this episode? Yeah. Right? So you remember. So it's the same thing that we're doing with our audience. We're sitting there, we're talking about market absorption rates. We're talking about like things going up and down. And they're sitting there like, yeah. But they have no idea what the hell we're talking about, right? Here are 2 lines you want to add. Sorry, a little closer in.
No,
you're
you're
looking at
good.
the video.
Yeah.
2 lines to add every time we're talking about real estate videos. If you're a buyer, this is what it means for you. If you're a seller, this is what it means for you. If you can break it down in easier terms to understand, in a way where I'm saying, oh, if I'm a buyer, here's what the market means to you right now. Right? You want to break it down in such an easy way that anybody can understand it. That's what an expert is. Right? So when you shoot these videos, that's what you want to do. And again, alright, let's go to the next one. Pro tip number 2.
Show me the money.
Pro tip. What is this, guy? You know what? I don't even want to give you guys this. Go to the next slide. Alright, we'll go back and we'll try one more time. Pro tip.
Show me the money.
Alright, this one's a good one too. I want to give it to you guys. This one right here. Alright? So it's so important. When we shoot content, it's always, we want to think like, what's keeping our clients up at night? What's keeping people up at night right now? Schools. What's going on with schools right now with COVID, right? So, like, when we shoot these videos, here's the first part of this equation, right? You make a post that says, hey, I'm going live with somebody in XYZ school district. Parents, what questions do you have? You'll watch it, and we got up to 3,000 comments on one. Because parents were so freaking curious about what is going on with schools, right? What's happening? What's going on? Oh, you got somebody actually in the school district? And then you go live with somebody in that school district, just asking, and guess what? You don't even have to think of questions. You already got all your questions. And then so many people tune in, and then you take that video, and you blast out your entire database, right? What keeps parents up right now? What the hell is going on with my kid in school, right? I don't care if you guys interview a janitor in school. Interview somebody in the school. Get a teacher, get a school district rep, get somebody that can actually answer. Don't get the janitor, but get somebody in that school, right? Because what's a big reason people move to different areas too? Like let's think outside of COVID too, if this shit ever ends, right? Outside of this time, what's a big reason people move to schools? School districts. If we can tie ourselves to the market, to the school districts, and to the community and everything that's happening, we have everything a person needs to move to this area. Right? They don't have to ask those people like, man, Todd's the one to ask. He interviews the school district, he interviews everything you need to know. And then the cool thing is, right now, like I'm saying with this COVID thing, this is more of like a right now situation, right? You can't continue to use this video 5 years from now. But if I interview somebody about the school, what they're doing, what makes them different, I can use this video video for like a year or two, right? And just put them in a drip campaign. Oh, you're looking at this school district? Here's a drip campaign. So you can continue to use these, right? So, school district, that's a great video to shoot right now. Let's figure out what the hell's happening within the school district. Interview them, blast out to your database, watch your thing light up. It's a great video to do. Next one. This is just residual content. We're talking about making sure that we get these into different platforms, right? Shoot one video, make sure you get it into different ways. I always blast all my videos out in emails. And what you want to do, like including the video in the email is good, but what happens is the heavier the email, the more likely it is to go into spam, right? So the heavier email, big pictures, big videos, more likely it's to go to spam. So what I do is I bring people to my Facebook. You want to grow your Facebook business page? Write a quick email, let them know what the video is about, bring them to your Facebook business page. A big reason people don't like clicking on links and emails, why? It's because you don't know where it's going to bring you. When it says Facebook or YouTube, we tend to trust those, right? So if you want to send them to your YouTube channel or Facebook, those are great ways. Next one. All right. What I want everybody to write down right now. Write 10 people in your sphere that you can do a video with right now in the interview. School district reps, mortgage, title, business owners. Guys, these are people in this room. Interview your marketing director. Talk about different things you guys are doing. Interview anybody within your team. Interview Todd. Talk about things that are going on. Right? Why? Because it's great to know. If I'm somebody looking at an agent, I want to know what the leader's doing. Right? Everybody here should be interviewing Todd. That should be 1% of your list. Alright, so just write 10 people that you can interview right now. What's up? Yeah, there you go. Alright, next one, please. Well, that's an easy one. Skid StreamYard, guys. I don't want to go into too much detail. Get StreamYard.
It's a game changer.
It's a game changer. You can go live on Facebook and YouTube at the same time. I can do interviews with people. StreamYard is a game changer. So many things. The best thing about StreamYard is it's user friendly. It's so easy to use, right? Extremely easy to use. Get StreamYard. I don't want to go much more in detail. That's right down there. Get that.
Is that an app?
It's StreamYard.com.
Thank you.
Yeah, sorry.
That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah,
All I do my showing is on StreamYard.
Gotcha.
yeah.
We can do a class about that.
Thank you.
All right, so I said I was talking a little bit about recruiting, right? Pro tip. I got 10 minutes left here. So here's the strategy that, man, I'll tell you what. It's so simple, but yet so freaking effective. Reach up, reach down, reach out. All right, so what you do, your first one is reach out. What we want to do is we don't want to tell people we have the best coaching. We want to show them we have the best coaching. We don't want to tell them we have the best partners. We want to show them we have the best partners, right? Because when we say, hey guys, we have the best partners, everyone's thinking like, cool, so do I, right? Reach up. What we want to do is we want to interview people like Chuck Fazio, like Todd, like Veronica, Jay Kinder, Al Stacy. And I got actually a website for you guys. EXPHoneyBadger.com. EXPHoneyBadger.com. I actually created this site for this reason. I got about 30 of the top people within this group company to buy into this, and you just go to that website and you schedule with them right on the website. Okay? So what we want to do is we want to show people we have the best coaching. Because I'll tell you what, people are like, yeah, I'm the best leader. And then all of a sudden you bring on Jay, who sold 535 homes in a year. Like, they look at their leader like, man, most of the sold was 40. Like, maybe you're the best, right? And then they're like, man, we got the best leader. And then we got fucking Chuck Fazio had a 900 agent team, like a 900 agent individual brokerage. I think it was like the largest in the country at the time, right? And then you look at your leader like, man, most you ever had was 5. You're like, are you the best leader, right? You don't, like, if people don't start questioning that until you bring on some of these guys. First time you interviewed Chuck Fazio, he was on the streets of Italy. I'm like, all right, that's a good guy to talk to, right? But Chuck, like, when we bring on these people, we are showing them, like, man, we are going to out-coach you, out-train you, and we're just going to do that. And again, we don't want to tell people these things. Why? Because most people are going to lead with, look at the rev share, look at the stock. That's leading with logic That shit follows, doesn't lead, right? What leads is, here's your emotional tie, better leaders, better coaching, better people. We're going to show you that. Reach down. This is where you want to reach. You want to reach like down, so that's basically like for some local agents, for some people that are either on my level or are just bringing on brand new agents. And we want to talk about like what we're doing to help them, right? We want to say like, here's how we're helping agents, here's how we're helping people. And what we want to show them is, first we're going to say, here's how we can help you coach and train. Here's how we can help somebody just like you get to the next level, right? So we don't want to show them, we don't want to tell them we have good lead generation tools. We want to show them and get some people on. Reach out. This is where we're going to grow our audience of agents. So this is where we reach out to mortgage, title reps, right? Other lead companies. Why? Because who is their audience? Agents and other companies. So you're constantly showing them your better training, showing them how we can help them, and then growing that audience. And you just rinse and repeat, right? All at the same time too, your audience of buyers or sellers are seeing how connected you are, seeing how you're coaching and training, and you're looking like an expert. So it's a win-win, right? I think that's the last one.
So are you doing those in Facebook Live?
Yep.
On your personal page?
Yeah.
Or are you doing it on a personal group or private group?
No. Personal page, wide open.
Alright.
I want everybody to see it. Yeah.
Okay.
Alright, that's what I have for you guys today. What kind of questions do you guys have for me as I'm wrapping this up?
Do you want to talk about content cards, the digital business cards?
Yeah, we can talk about that.
Just give them a...
Yeah, so we have a digital business card. What this is like I was saying, you want to be like you want to have the ultimate user experience for your clients. That's what we do with content cards. So what we did is we give you guys a one-stop shop for all your home search, home evaluation, reviews. Essentially, think of all the links that you have online right now. We put them on one singular page, make it easy for your clients to use. We provide them that ultimate, like that Uber experience, that Netflix experience for working with you. Content cards, it's $20 a month. We provide your digital business card. You can have all your videos on there, all your landing pages. It ain't coming up right now, but we made it very mobile friendly. You can text it to people, you can send it to people. We don't just give you one for your clients, we also give you one for recruiting from the honey badgers. Okay? There you go.
So this was an event we had last year. We had some people do a review for us on video. We popped it in here so someone calls and says they want to see some information about us. I can text them this. That's some of our clients giving a quick review on us. Agents, we've got a partner with me. It'll take you to a whole list of all of our partners inside of EXP. Set an appointment with my Calendly. Don't use this as much as I should, but it's a great, what should be your business card? Cool, talk about that work.
Yeah, so essentially, when you're in clients, when you're in meetings, when you want to send people links, like, hey, can you send me this link? You go, shit, you gotta go through your email, you gotta try to find it online. With this, if you put everything on one link, all my stuff goes to nickkrem.com. So now it's easy to use, it's simple to use, you make it easy for your clients, and even more so, it's easy for you. Because now anytime somebody has a question about me, I don't have to think about it. Oh, go to nickkrem.com. You want to schedule me? Go to nickkrem.com. You don't know about product? Go to nickkrem.com. For you guys, it'd be that simple. Oh, you want to call me? Go to Nick. Well, call you, might want to give me your number, but if you want to email you, you want to get your bio, you want to get all this information, you want to get your reviews, you can hook up everything, you can hook up your KV core, everything that you have online to one singular place. We give you your bank link, so it's touchload.org. Everything is on one singular page for you, easy to use, very mobile friendly. That's just contentcards.com, content cards with a Z.
The only other thing I would say on this, for those of us that are like heavy in the Facebook groups for referrals, we're always in there trying to blast our names, and we're trying to put a little bio about ourselves. I drop talkshop.org in there, and it pops up as a nice website. And that, can't say it helps or doesn't help, but it's another thing to set me apart from others that are just posting like a picture of the business card and like some content.
Right.
I mean, we just pop that in there. Everything just pops it all automatically.
Well, guys, we'll all be here for lunch. You guys have questions individually?
We have food in the back.
Yeah.
Lawrence Heisler for our food. I don't know if it's not by or not. Yep.
Yeah.
Works for so there's same that those you guys have vegetarian specific.
Yeah, there's two on the right side that are for the veggies.
Yep.
You're welcome.
Awesome.